Good afternoon. These are Linda's favorite things from the last 12 months and some things I don't want you to forget after you leave NCSM. And it comes from my work with teachers and also some personal items as well. Linda's favorite things. I don't want you to forget about It's Time. It's an opportunity for you to look at your practice through a broader lens, for you to set some new goals, to have greater clarity and a broader sense about your work. This is a wonderful graphic. I don't want you to forget, and one of my favorite things is that we really push to have social justice in this document, and a real wonderful resource is Rethinking Mathematics, which talks about a social justice curriculum and can give you some really great problems. I don't want you to forget about the NCSM website, because right here you see a model of just one page, and it has some wonderful resources. This one is about three-act lessons, but there's also information about position papers. And please don't forget about the Coach's Corner. It's a brand new look, and those 4 areas there are areas that are from Prime. You can get some really good information. I also don't want you to forget about the formative assessment module, Jumpstart, because there are modules in there with PowerPoints and teacher moves right there for you to do the PDs. Just some wonderful information. And then I learned this year that there was a way in which I could get everyone's attention at the beginning of a PD, and that's by using an optical illusion. It's fun, it provided focus, it helps people to relax, and I just find it an unusual way just to begin. I also learned that if you take a city and have a map and start at point A and go to point B for procedural and conceptual understanding, there's a way to talk about how to get from point A to point B 2 different ways using that way of thinking. If you Google this, My Favorite No, you get a wonderful video on formative assessment, and it's something just real quick that teachers can use the very next day. I like using the Freyer Model. I like using it as an anchor chart and also to unpack the standards for mathematical practices and also for students to use, something you can download from the web. And here's a real good definition of leadership. Leadership is no more or no less than taking responsibility for what matters to you. I added the word should because It's Time is saying what should matter to you as a leader. And of course, Prime gave us 3 stages of leadership. And in these stages, we learned that as leaders, we should think about leaving our legacy. We should think about being an example. And we should think about our knowledge and skills and being respected for our knowledge and skills. I really like this book, Ripples of Hope, because it talks about the importance of setting norms, how we should make sure we listen to each other, not put each other down, not interrupt each other, have confidence, build the confidentiality and trust. Another one of my favorite things is this book right here, Motivation Matters, because I think it's a nice tie with a formative assessment, which is also a nice tie with fixed mindset and growth mindset. So I recommend that book. It's one of my favorite things. This is a problem that I really love. That's the midpoint right there, and that's the square. And teachers come up with all different kind of ways to really solving that problem. So it's one of my favorite problems over this past year. Another one of my favorite problems over the past year is this grainy problem. I found it on the plane in a Reader's Digest. Everybody in my family could work it faster than me. So all this notion about all this prior knowledge we have to have, that just kind of went down the drain. Another one of my favorite problems is a park problem, it's a credit card problem, and this is really interesting because before you can model it, you got to know when do they add the interest onto your account. Is it before you make the monthly payment or after the monthly payment? Because that's going to change the model, so it's very interesting. Then I don't want you to forget about the TOTOS conference if you haven't heard about it. It's going to be in beautiful Arizona, which is where I'm from, at the wonderful Sheraton Wild Horse Pass. So go to the TOTOS booth at NCTM if you plan to stay to find out more about this conference. And then, of course, we can't forget about the future. And I'd like to introduce to you Joshua Vincent Fulmore, who is my grandson, because this is why we do the things we do, is for the future and the legacy we want to leave. And with that, I just would like to thank you, and thank you, and thank you again.